This right here is my 2009 Mercedes E350. And at the moment, it's broken. And if I can't fix it, then it could ruin my entire plan of trying to swap this car up to a supercar. I started with a Vauxhall Astra that I then swapped on for a Volkswagen Golf. I swapped the Golf then for a Mercedes CLS, and after that swapped the CLS for this, which is a huge step up from all of the previous cars. But of course, this car came with its issues that I'm struggling to fix. To start with, the car had a horrible knocking noise coming somewhere from the front, which I later found out to be the drop links. So I installed 2 brand new ones, and that was that problem taken care of. But now I'm left with this awful engine light on the dashboard with no luck so far on fixing it. This engine light can mean a few things. First, we've got a fault code for the EGR. I'm not sure what that actually means, but I think we should get that mapped out anyway. The next one is the exhaust pressure sensor. Now, last video I did install a brand new pressure sensor, but unfortunately, because it's not an OEM part, the car does not like it at all. So later in this video, we're gonna have to head to Mercedes and actually order the OEM pressure sensor. And then we have got a code for the alternator, which I already know has been changed. And again, that is just a part that isn't OEM and it's a stored code, so it isn't active. So we haven't got to worry about that. But we did have a fault code for the DPF being too full. Since I actually cleared that and reset the DPF itself, it hasn't actually come back. The weird part about all of this is that when the engine light was on for the DPF, it was telling me that it was up to its max level and was completely blocked. But after I checked the live data, I saw that there was hardly any pressure in the DPF itself, which would indicate that it's not actually blocked. Safe to say, I've got my work cut out if I want to get this car fully working again, and I'm determined to get it done in this video. So, to start with, I think we should look into the EGR problem. These cause more problems than they actually solve, so I think the easiest thing to do with that, instead of trying to sort out the actual problem, is simply get it mapped out of the ECU completely. So, we have Paul from Sheffield Remaps on the way now, who is going to actually put a stage 1 tune on this car and also map the EGR out of the ECU. But we have got to get the ECU out. And of course it isn't easy because this is a Mercedes. The ECU for some reason is located in the driver's side wheel arch. Why, I'm not sure, but we've got to take the wheel off, take the inner arch out, and the ECU is located somewhere up here. I do not know why. If anyone has got a decent explanation as to why the ECU is literally in the driver's side wing, then I'd love to know. But yeah, all we've got to do is get this ECU out, ready for Paul, who can then bench map the EGR, and he might as well chuck a stage 1 on this car at the same time. So let's get this ECU out. So to get to this ECU, I've got to jack the car up, take the wheel off, and then there's a few plastic clips and 10mm bolts holding in this wheel arch trim. And while I'm getting this arch liner out, if you guys could just double check that you're actually subscribed to the channel, because over 60% of you that are watching these videos aren't actually subscribed, and I'm doing my best to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So please hit that subscribe button down below, it means the world. Well, the internet wasn't lying, because if we fold back this arch lining, there we have it, one ECU. What a weird place to put the entire brain of the car, literally with a tiny piece of plastic to shield it from all of the elements, literally all of them, everything. There's just this piece of plastic here. That is mental. But before I obviously take it out, I'm going to unplug the battery. I'm going to disconnect the battery. And to get to the battery, I've just got to remove this plastic housing held in by 3 clips. Now I can disconnect the battery, and then it's on to getting this ECU out of the wheel arch. It was a little bit awkward to get to, but there's 2 electrical connectors and then 2 bolts holding it to the actual chassis.
One Mercedes ECU.
But of course, everything was going way too smooth and way too easy for it to be that simple. And here is where I ran into a little bit of an issue.
Well, it was going good. Paul is currently on his way, but I cannot for the life of me get this electric connector off the ECU. Mercedes really did think about it in putting 2 tiny little tabs, literally tiny tabs like that, were just glued to the actual connector. So the tabs go inside here, and this locking pin kind of is meant to pull open, which slides this plastic inner part out, which unlocks it, so you can literally pull it out. Obviously, if that's a little bit tight, like it was, it literally snaps off. So now there's pretty much no way of getting that off. So we've got to just cross our fingers and hope that Paul only needs to tap into this side. If he doesn't, we're going to have to figure some sort of way of getting that connector off, because, well, I can't figure it out. It literally will not budge, and I don't want to force anything and break it any further. So another great idea by Mercedes-Benz of putting the ECU in the wheel arch so it gets all the dust and all the crap from the road all over it. Great.
And shortly after that, Paul arrived from Sheffield Remapping, who, if you need his assistance, I will leave his link in the description below. You can get your car remapped. He does EGR solutions, DPF solutions, and much more.
So Paul is now here from Sheffield Remapping. How are we, mate?
Good to see you again.
And of course, it is not the easy option. We were hoping that maybe he could just pin into this side, but no, we have to get this side off as well. It's, I don't know, it should slide up and out, but we're not having much luck at the minute. So we're going to do our best to get this off, and then Paul can work his magic and remap that horrible EGR out of that horrible ECU.
And luckily, with a little bit of fiddling around, I managed to manually slide the 2 pins up without using the locking cog, so we can actually unplug this electrical connector.
Yes!
It only needs a little bit.
Well, so it doesn't need to come out all the way then. So I could actually get that back in.
Yeah. Weird.
Mate,
Normally go a lot more. Right.
that's for you.
Okay, I'll plug it in.
Yes!
And now Paul can do what he does best, and that is flash a stage 1 map onto this ECU and also delete the EGR off the system completely.
And just like that, with a bit of Sheffield Remapping magic, we have a stage 1 ECU for, obviously, this Mercedes with the EGR deleted. Now, we could have very easily just deleted the DPF out and just literally knocked it out, but what use is that? I want to actually try and get to the bottom of it and actually fix it. So the DPF is still on the ECU, the EGR has been removed. I know you're not meant to, but it's an EGR, no one likes EGRs. So the DPF is still in the ECU, we'll get it all back together now. And, well, one, we'll see if it's out of limp mode and see if we can actually do a proper kind of regen on the DPF and see if it can clear itself out. If not, now we will be able to put some cleaner in and actually get some pressure coming through the exhaust, because hopefully it's now out of limp mode. Fingers crossed that works. If it doesn't, then we're just going to have to carry on doing some more digging. We also need to sort that exhaust pressure sensor out. So, yeah, but for now, we'll get the ECU back on and we'll see what the car's saying.
Now I'm just going to plug in the ECU before I actually put it back where it came from, just so we can test if the car works. And luckily I managed to get that electrical connector back in and lock it into place. Now all I've got to do is plug the battery back in.
Okay, before I do plug all of the ECU back in, I'm going to turn the car on and see if it is actually worked. That way we can also run through the live data and see if that has worked with the EGR problem. So we'll see. I'm nervous. Ready? And she fires straight back up. Paul on the job. There we go. Now we can actually get on the live data and get on reading the ECU and see if that EGR problem has actually gone.
So now I'm going to do a scan of the engine control module and see which codes actually come back. All I can do now is cross my fingers and hope that this has solved the problem.
We've only got one fault on that engine control module, which I think will be the alternator. So let's actually have a look. So literally, mate, we've got one fault code for the alternator.
Just that, yeah.
Nothing else. So that should be out of limp mode, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah,
We should be able to go to Mexico tonight then. No, but that is very good news. I mean, I don't know what the way of fixing that one is, because it's an aftermarket alternator. The car, it's always coming up as a stored code, so I'm not really sure. But I mean, for now, we might as well look at the live data and see what the exhaust / DPF is actually telling us, because now that EGR problem's solved, it may... Oh, so the pressure sensor is now working.
Oh, right. Maybe it was related to the EGR.
Maybe it was related to the... But it's coming up as red.
So that's probably because it's a little bit low. But if you rev it now, because that should go up, I imagine. No, not really.
I wonder now, if I put the new sensor in,
Yeah,
if it'd come up as a fault.
it might be alright.
So with nothing to lose, I'm going to refit this new pressure sensor, which is an aftermarket one, and see if this has actually worked, because the original one that is currently in the car is now reading something completely different but not correct.
Okay, the new pressure sensor from this brand is now in. I'm not expecting this to work because this one is obviously an OEM part that I think has just maybe gone faulty, but we'll turn the car on, check the live data, and we'll see.
Last time I had this exhaust pressure sensor plugged in, the engine control module threw up a plausible code to do with that sensor. So if that doesn't come back, then maybe this has actually worked.
Okay, we're still only getting one fault on that engine control module, which is really good. That should just be the alternator. There we go, which it is.
Now, to confirm that it is definitely working, the back pressure sensor should be reading anywhere from 10.1 to 29 psi, which luckily it was. But then I heard a noise coming from this car that I haven't heard since actually getting it.
Oh my god! Oh my god, listen! I can hear the turbo actually doing something for once. No way! Right, come on. Trouble codes. No, we've still only got that one error for the alternator. So that new pressure sensor has actually worked. We might have actually fixed this. Obviously not sure on the DPF fault yet, but we're out of limp mode. The pressure sensor's working. I think we should take it on a drive and do a regen on the DPF to hopefully clear that out. So let me get all this mess and ECU back together, and we're taking it on a drive.
I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket because there still could be a couple of errors come up when we actually drive this car, but I'm going to get this ECU plugged back in and put it back where I found it. After that, I can refit the wheel arch trim, making sure to refit all the little plastic clips and a couple of them 10mm bolts. Now it's time to get the wheel back on and then of course reinstall that battery cover. And now we should be left with a Mercedes E350 that is out of limp mode, that has a stage 1 tune on it, producing around 300 horsepower. Let's take it on a drive.
This is the moment of truth. I haven't put my foot down yet, but if this car is actually fixed and is out of limp mode, I should have about 300 horsepower at my right foot. This is the first time I've been able to actually put my foot down in this car, because since I've got it, it has been in limp mode. We've got no engine light on the dashboard. I'll have to check the scan tool when I get home because it is on charge. We're going to put it in sport mode and I'm just going to put my foot down. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm expecting something to go wrong, because if the DPF's blocked, it's going to throw it straight back into limp mode. But I'm going to put my foot down in 3, 2, 1. We've got power. We've got a lot of power. Oh my God, that's fast. It's working. We've got no engine light on the dashboard. That is really quick. Wow, that is quick. Let's go again. That is seriously fast, and we actually haven't got any fault codes at all coming up on the dashboard. Is that fixed? I think that might actually be fixed. I can't believe we're driving around in a Mercedes E-Class with 300 horsepower when a few swaps ago we started out with a Vauxhall Astra. This is absolutely mental. But for now, this car, let's see, let's put it in manual mode. Let's drop it down a few gears. Third gear, foot down. That is fast. That is actually so quick and so kind of powerful. I'm going to drive it round a little bit just to make sure that nothing does come back up, and then we'll head back to the driveway and see what the live data is saying. But I'm smiling ear to ear because I can't believe that this, well, could potentially be fixed, and I can't believe how fast it is. That it is fast, like that is quick. Well, at the moment, this car is driving the best it has ever driven. It's fast, it seems to be reliable, and as of now, we've got no fault codes come up on the dashboard. But I think I should get the diagnostic tool out and actually check what is happening with that DPF, because I feel like it's a little bit weird that it's just completely disappeared. So, let's get the diagnostics out and just double check.
Now, I already know that with this car there can be faults stored on the ECU without the engine light actually illuminating, so I've just got to cross my fingers that that isn't the case.
Well, we're still only getting that one fault code, which should be that alternator one. That is really good news. I'm actually thinking that this car is fixed, but let's go on to the live data. Exhaust system, actual values of the DPF, and here we can actually see the level of the DPF has gone down to 25%, which is pretty much, that is spot on. Like, that is exactly where it should be. I will be honest, I checked it off camera yesterday and it was on 48%. I took the car out again last night, drove it to Leicestershire and back, and it's actually gone down to 25%. Sorry, I couldn't help but check. I just wanted to actually know before I kind of set off back that it was going to be no problem, but I wasn't expecting it to have actually gone down. So the DPF's gone down. That is definitely not blocked. The exhaust back pressure is reading bang on exactly where it should be. And, well, the soot and ash content, they're on pretty much 0, which is perfect. Safe to say, I think this car is officially fixed and fully working. Now that is really good news, but there is a few little more issues that need taking care of on this car before we can swap it on, and I am honestly so intrigued and excited to see what we're going to get offered for swaps with this car, because to me this car is a very nice car. But for now, we've actually got another bit of good news. Because in last video, if you remember me mentioning, this car didn't actually come with one of them plastic kind of V6 engine covers, but we've had a little bit of good luck, because Ethan, being the legend he is, actually managed to find us the perfect one for this car that actually has the little air kind of intake duct thing. So I'm going to give this a quick clean, and then we can quickly get it fitted to the engine, because we shouldn't have to take this off now because it's actually fixed. Let's get it cleaned.
So I'm just going to use some pre-wash and agitate it in with the detail brush, install this, and look how much better the engine bay looks with that cover on.
There we go, it now looks like an engine instead of a complete wiring mess. So that is something we can now tick off the list. Now, if you didn't already know, the whole reason I am doing this swapping series is to eventually get my hands on owning a supercar. And when I get that supercar, I want to do a lap of Silverstone. But with this being a diesel Mercedes, I don't think it would be a great idea to take this car on a track. But luckily, I've got a way that I actually can. And to do that, I'm actually going to be using EA F124 so I can set a lap on Silverstone and see if I can beat it once I reach that supercar.
EA have made some insane improvements to make the experience even more realistic, such as improved steering and improved graphics.
So first off, I've got to pick which team I want to race as, and since that we're onto a Mercedes-Benz in the swapping series, I think it makes sense that we go with the Patronas. And now all I've got to do is navigate my way to Great Britain, which should be the Silverstone Grand Prix track. Let's see what time we can set.
They have even gone into the detail of how certain teams and their cars perform better at certain tracks, just like they do in real life.
Boom! There we go. I have set a personal best of 1 minute 9 seconds .422. So in a few months' time or a year's time or whenever, that is the time I've got to be in my own supercar. Well, for now, I'm going to go ahead and try and better my score bit by bit.
And if you want to join in on all the fun over on EA F1, then hit the link in the description and I'll see you on the game.
And now I've got that out of my system, I can actually move on to getting a few of these problems sorted with this Mercedes. And the first one is one that I didn't actually notice until yesterday. And that issue is this driver's side tyre. One, it started to go very, very bold on the outside edge, and two, it actually keeps going flat. So we need to get a new tyre and we need to get it fitted and balanced. So of course we're going to go to the people that love to help out with the channel, so we're going to head to ETS and quickly get that problem solved.
ETS is your one-stop shop for all your servicing and maintenance needs, and they also do MOTs. The lads are going to get the car straight in, get it jacked up and get the old tyre off. What we're replacing it with is this Zeta tyre, who have kindly helped out with this swapping series. So I'll leave Zeta's link and also Eden Tyres link in the description below, as they always are happy to help out with the cars. The lads are now going to get the old tyre off, install the new tyre, and then it's ready to get it back on the car. And now we've got that fresh Zeta tyre installed, the lads are going to pull the Mercedes back out of the garage, and it only leaves us with one thing left to do.
And now we can go into the menu, head over to service, tyre pressure, and we can reset the indicator. So we now do not get that horrible kind of indicator on the dash that one of the tyres keeps going flat. That's another job taken care of. Let's head back and take care of, I think I've got a couple more before this car is pretty much perfect. Now, like I say, there are a few more issues that we need to take care of on this car, but one thing I want to do is a quick little upgrade that we've done to every car that we've swapped so far. And that, of course, is the number plate. I think it's pretty criminal to drive around on these horrible standard plates when I work so closely with a reg plate company. So, of course, we're heading up to Sheffield to get the £150 to £150,000 number plates made. Let's go. So we've obviously made it down to Reg Plate King, that if you didn't already know, have been a massive sponsor of the channel for years now. You can use the discount code J3ESE, and I'll obviously leave the link in the description. First things first, we need to take these horrible number plates off that I'm pretty sure are just the standard number plates, and we need to make up the traditional, it's like religion to do that on each car now, £150 to £150,000 number plates. So let's get these off.
And of course, with these being the original number plates, it was also the original bolts, so they were obviously seized.
Right, so 4 out of 4 bolts have rounded off, and well, I don't need this number plate, so the only way to do it is with a pair of mole grips and just to snap the original plate off so we can actually grip the bolts. Lovely. They've snapped right in the wrong places. There we go. That's how you take your number plate off. Right, now we can actually grip the bolts.
Now I can actually get some leverage on the screws and manually twist them out with the mole grips, just in time for the brand new set of plates to be freshly made up, ready to go on the car. These look absolutely amazing and they're a must for each car for this series. So I'm going to get the front one on and of course the back one, and whilst we were doing this we noticed that these lights were actually tinted, so of course we had to get them de-tinted, and I think they look way better this way. And just like that, a set of number plates and also de-tinting them lights, this Mercedes is looking better than ever. Now let's head back to the driveway.
And now that is taken care of, it literally leaves us with 2 more jobs to do until we can get this car up for swaps, which we're going to be doing in this video. Now I was meant to get these 2 jobs done yesterday, but I decided to spend the afternoon playing EA F1 24, so that is my bad. But we're out here now and we're going to get these jobs sorted. The first of which isn't a major one. I've just got to top up the washer fluid because I keep getting an annoying alert on the dashboard telling me that it needs topping up, and then we can move on to one that's a little bit major. And now we've done that, we shouldn't have that really annoying warning that keeps coming up on the dashboard. Obviously we've got the bonnet is open and now that warning hasn't come back up. Right, now on to an issue that has been ruining my driveway since I got this car, and that is this horrible little oil leak that this car has developed. I do know where it is coming from, but for the past 3 weeks it's just been leaking all over the driveway, which is going to take some absolute man hours to sort out. But let me get this car jacked up, because to sort this oil leak we've got to drain all of the oil out the car, annoyingly.
So I'm going to get this car jacked up and you'll see exactly where this oil leak is coming from.
So as you can clearly see, this car has been making, in fact I don't know if it's all this car, but it's been making a right mess, and I know exactly where it's coming from. So if we come underneath the car, I think it's pretty obvious what the culprit of the problem is. For some reason that sump plug has literally, well, like the copper washer has cracked, or I don't actually know what has gone on. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to drain all the oil and replace it, just to replace that £1 flipping sump plug. It's annoying, but what can you do? Clearly one of these washers that is currently on the car has split. Now I am actually not sure which one I should be using, or if I should be using both. I don't really know. I'm just gonna have to Google it and find out which washer is best to use. Well, that's answered that question, because this aluminium one doesn't actually sit flush for some reason. It doesn't go all the way down. It might crush a little bit, but I'm just going to use the copper one, because copper, according to Google, is meant to last for 100 years. So we're just going to use the copper one, and I'm going to get this old sump plug out, drain the oil, and then we've got some more to go in, and then we can get the car washed, get it looking nice, put it up for swaps and see what we get offered. Right, let's crack on.
And now I'm editing this video, I'm starting to think that maybe that gap where the aluminium washer didn't fit was purposely for the copper one, and I should have put the aluminium one on top. But the one that we took off didn't have any aluminium one, so we can just get that out, drain the oil. But then I noticed something that I'd really messed up on.
Oh no! Oh no! It's gone all over the driveway. No.
Now, with me regularly changing oil on cars that are 4 cylinders and a lot smaller engines that take around 5 litres of oil, I completely forgot that this one takes nearly double. It actually takes 8.5 litres, so it clearly overfilled my drain pan.
no. Oh, that is so bad.
Well, I guess I've just made double the work for myself because I'm going to have to tidy that the best I can. But for now, I'm going to get the new sump plug in and I can start filling the car back up with oil.
Well, that's that problem taken care of. But now, I've created myself a really big other one.
I guess this is just one of the downsides to trying to do everything on your own on the driveway. It was bound to happen sooner or later.
Well, it's definitely not perfect, but it's a lot better than having a massive dark black patch on the driveway. I've definitely got a bit more scrubbing with the broom to do. I've used some brick acid and it's got it up that much so far, but for now we need to go get this Mercedes up for swaps. And once again, we got a car that wasn't working, was in limp mode and had an oil leak, an engine light on the dashboard, and we've now got a perfectly working Mercedes E350. Now, as much as I would love to keep this car because it is a really nice, fast, reliable car to have as a daily, I've got to think of the content and we've got to move on as soon as possible or you guys are going to get bored. So let's get some pictures and let's get it online and up for swaps.
And one thing I always say to anyone that is trying to sell a car is that photos is the most important thing. If you can't be bothered to get some decent pictures of your car, then I'm not surprised that a buyer can't be bothered to buy it. Photos is so important, so I'm going to take my time at getting as many angles as I can to make sure that these photos look the best they can. And now that's done, I'm going to go online to the Facebook pages of where everyone advertises their cars for sales or swaps. I'm going to write out a nice lengthy description on this car so that no points are missed and everyone knows exactly what I've got to offer.
And just like that, the car is up for swaps. And it goes without saying, if you guys have anything interesting that is around the value of £4,000 to £5,000, then let me know. Contact me on Instagram or drop a comment down below. But we won't know what I've actually chosen until the next video. So thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you guys are enjoying it. But for now, I will catch you in the next video. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. I'll catch you in a bit. Peace.
You wear a hat they call dad. Me, I'm the dad in a hat. You just like clubbing and clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3 I be missed for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a mama. The mama loves me.